So parents, we know how hard the pandemic was for you to deal with. It was for us too, talking about masking up, working from home, virtual learning for our kids.
Yeah, and it's something that a lot of us are still dealing with to this day. And now, even though the worst is behind us, many of you are dealing with the impact it left on your children.
Atlanta News First reporter Chelsea Bimefor looks at the toll that COVID has taken on our children and how families can bounce back.
And a zero.
And a zero, very good.
Millie LaMonica helps her 4-year-old daughter Lulu assemble a puzzle on the floor of their living room.
We've seen a bit of a speech delay and shyness in her that we've not seen in the other three.
It's a place they've spent a lot of time over the last 2.5 years during the COVID-19 pandemic.
I think that there's a bigger hurdle for her to overcome than for the others at this point. Just because everything was so limited in her really developmental years.
When COVID shut down Cobb County schools in March 2020, LaMonica's 2 oldest children shifted to virtual learning at home. She postponed her youngest son's enrollment in kindergarten, and Lulu was only 2.
There were tears, lots of tears, lots of frustration.
Straight up.
LaMonica says her oldest daughter, Lila Kate, did fine academically, but struggled socially after being shut in for many months.
Before the pandemic, she was very social and, always was with people and with her friends and, team sports and that sort of thing. But she will come to me now and say, my people battery is almost out.
Her 5th grade son, Leverett, also achieved good grades, but LaMonica says overall, he struggled with comprehension. Leverett and Lila Kate aren't the only students who've experienced these struggles. A new survey from the Institution of Education Services, a branch of the U.S. Department of Education, says more than 8 in 10 public schools have seen stunted behavioral and socioemotional development in students following the pandemic, and more than 70% of public schools reported an increase in students seeking mental health services.
There's gun violence, there's the war. There's just so many things going on that kids have been dealing with.
Jody Baumstein is a licensed therapist with Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. She says one of the best ways to help kids struggling with anxiety, lack of focus, and other emotions stemming from the pandemic is to simply talk to them.
Instead of asking questions like, hey, are you nervous about this? Or are you worried about that? Just asking them, how do you feel? And then really sitting back and letting them guide the conversation.
Baumstein wants to remind parents they're not alone and that thousands of kids are experiencing similar struggles.
Just like we wouldn't hesitate to go to the doctor if we had a physical concern, we need to do the same for our emotional and mental health and not wait until our child is in crisis, but go and get them the help they need proactively.
Chelsea Bimefor, Atlanta News First.
LaMonica says now that her kids are getting back into team sports and more stable school routines, things are improving in their household. Children's Healthcare of Atlanta also offers a long list of health and wellness resources. You can find those links to this story on the Atlanta News First app.